rush yards against Belichick's Patriots.
Yeah, I believe they will, Skip. And I understand that Coach Belichick in that 3-4 defense, Skip, they try to do a good job of two-gapping, so they don't try to get up the field. They just hold the line of scrimmage, and they let the linebackers make the plays. But this offensive line is back to being its dominant self. Tyron Smith is healthy. Zach Martin is healthy.
I don't know if he's healthy. He had
he got dinged.
He missed practice they just put neck, and he had neck surgery, so I don't know.
And by the way, Skip, that's going to be a problem for him.
Yeah, for what it's worth, Trevon Diggs was not able to practice on an ankle. I don't know if that means he can't play.
Yeah, he played that. They just be listing stuff and tried to get people's hopes up. Oh, he's not going to play.
Could be.
And both of those guys are going to be out there. But the Cowboys, the offensive line look dominant. They're doing a great job of running the football, play action off of it. And Dak has done an unbelievable job. Dak is leaps and bounds better than what he was when they played them 2 years ago, Skip, in that frigid, rainy, misty, whatever precipitation you want to say it was. It wasn't a great day. But they are very different teams. There's no Brady on the other side. Stephon Gilmore, the defense is not even comparable to what it was back then. And even though I thought the defense back then, Skip, was overrated, I say, Skip, it's smoke and mirrors. They're not that good. Okay. They're not even close. J.C. Jackson, I don't know what happened. Maybe he started reading Pro Football Focus about how good he was, but he's been a disaster this year. He has not lived up to expectation. Matthew Judon has been sensational.
Yes.
He's playing unbelievable. But the Cowboys, they run the ball, that 1-2 punch with Zeke and Pollard. They do a great job of running it, and then Dak does a great job of play action off of it. So I think the Patriots are going to have their hands full, and I think the Cowboys will dominate this game. And I got the score 28-17 Cowboys.
28-17 by 11, covering and winning, says Shannon.
Yes, yes.
The Hall of Famer. I should take that to my bank.
You should.
You have seen the light about my Dallas Cowboys.
What about the Patriots?
So you conceded to the Brooklyn Nets, and you've seen the light, and you're just completely embracing my Dallas Cowboys. Thank you. It's
not that I'm embracing your Cowboys. I'm saying what I've seen from the Patriots. Skip, you can honestly say they're not as good. They're not as good as you thought they were going to be because you thought they would be better.
I did. I was even shocked that I figured they would struggle at Houston because they were coming off. It was very emotional for them too when Brady visited.
Right.
And yet they were in big trouble at Houston. And Mac Jones actually helped pull it out of the fire, and they barely, 25-22, they prevailed.
Correct.
Okay. What do we know about Bill Belichick? What is his calling card for his career? What do people always say when they talk about his defensive coordinating genius, his strategic genius? What does he do? He always takes away what you do best. Am I right about that?
Right.
For the last 4 games since that opening night at GOAT, when nobody runs on Tampa, and Dallas just basically said, we give up.
Right.
We will throw it 58 times, and we will try to run it 18 times, and we'll go nowhere.
Don't know if that happens next time if they play them again.
I think you are right about that. Because for the next 4 games, my Cowboys found their new identity. They have rushed over the last 4, all wins, for an average of 201 yards per game. 201, that over that 4-game stretch leads the National Football League.
Yes.
What have I told you my all-time favorite stat is? With Dak at quarterback, when they run it more than they throw it, they are 28-0. 28-0. That's a stunning stat to me. So
because what it tells me, Skip, when you have that kind of stat, it's telling me you're throwing the ball when you want to, and you're not letting them dictate. Because what happens? You fall behind, you're throwing it. They want you to throw it. Because now, when you're running the ball, you did get to dictate. Man, you can't just go flying up the field because they might draw you, and here comes Zeke or Pollard out the backside. And then those guys stepping up, and so now you throw the ball right over their head where they were supposed to be. They got a nice little balance going.
So I'm fascinated by this matchup, as much for Belichick's sake as my team's sake, because he's on a hotter and hotter seat up there because he's getting more and more exposed. They have fallen to 1-3.
They won 2 games, right? They beat the Jets.
Wait, no, they're 2-3. 2-3. I'm sorry.
Right. They beat the Jets and
That's right. And they just beat the Texans. 2-3.
Right.
They were 1-3 going to Houston. 2-3. And here comes America's team on a big national stage on CBS with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo in the house. And you're up against one of the hottest teams, a team that is much better than most people thought it would be.
Yes.
And you're not as good as a lot of us thought you would be.
Correct.
And all of a sudden, they are running the ball down people's throats.
They are.
Can you take that away?
Right.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say they can't get to 200, but I think they can get to 150. And if they get to 150, that will work.
Right.
So now, what happened the last time we saw the Dallas Cowboys at Foxborough? You mentioned it. It was later in the year. It was the 2019 season when Dak was playing for his contract.
Right.
He was betting on himself. They had reached an impasse in their negotiation, and Dak said, Jerry, watch this. I'm going to prove to you I'm worth whatever I want.
Right.
And that day at New England, it was November 24th, and it was the same start time. It's that late afternoon, it's sort of going into a night game.
The sun is going down. So
Yeah, you know those games.
I do.
And to your point, it was 38 degrees at kickoff, plunging because the wind chill was 29, but it was raining. So it was cold rain, and it was miserable conditions, and Dak was pretty miserable. So Dak for the game goes 19 of 33 for 212, no touchdowns, one pick with a QBR of only 28, scale of 0 to 100.
That's not good.
Brady wasn't much better. He had a QBR of 43, but they pulled it out 13-9. Stephon Gilmore made Amari Cooper quit, flat out quit, and go stand on the sideline and pull his big long jacket on, right? Amari winds up that game getting 2 targets for no catches, for no yards. Well, Amari, you're on the clock too. Belichick's on the clock, but you got something to prove this weekend.
But the thing is, Skip, now is that because, you said Coach Belichick always comes up and says, what do you do best? And I'll take that away from you, and I'm going to force you to beat me with your B game. Which I guess you would say because they're running the ball so effectively, their B game, which is really good, could easily be an A game, is the passing game.
It's a 1A.
Right.
But right now, number one is Zeke and Pollard.
But if you go back and look at it, Skip, you talk about Amari, their leading receiver was like Zeke or Michael Gallup. You're like, huh? So now you come back with an Amari. You come back with a CeeDee Lamb. You come back with Wilson, who's playing unbelievable, and an offensive line that's dominant, that's running the football as well as anybody's running it in the football. And Dak is better. Skip, Dak is a better football player today than he was on that cold Sunday 2 years ago. He's just better. So the question is, if you take the running game away, which I believe Coach Belichick is going to do everything in his power to make Dak throw the football. Well, it's not like you guys, you got Stephon Gilmore back there when he was Defensive Player of the Year in his prime. It's not like you got guys back there. They're not the same defensive team.
Which is why I don't think they have the horses anymore. For Belichick to take away what you do best. Because I think Dallas is so dominant in what it does best that it will just say, we're going to do what we do. And you can try to stop it, but you won't be able to. And by the way, on that fateful night, that November 24th back in 2019, they did run the ball. They had next to no choice because it was raining and cold. But Zeke went 21 times and got 86 yards, so that wasn't bad. And they did total 109.
And they're a better running team now than they were then.
They're a much better running team. So for once, I'm going to listen to the Hall of Famer across from me, and I'm going to double down on your score. I also say 28-17 Dallas, because I believe that's about right. That's about how much better the Cowboys are right now than the Patriots.
Well, the question is, I didn't get a chance to look at the weather. I need to see what the weather's going to be.
It's good.
Okay.
It's beautiful. It should be a nice night. It should be around 50-ish at kickoff.
That's great. Yes, that's great.
It's going to be a sunny day. But into nighttime, the temperature might go down to 45-ish or something
But it's better than what it was, the 29 that they played last time.
I think it's going to be a perfect night to play football.
As long as it's dry, you can deal with anything else. As long as it's dry, as long as it's not windy. Because you can get all those you're in the Northeast, so you can get some of everything this time of year up there. So you're dodging a bullet. Because you see how they do that, man. The Cowboys, they dodging bullets. They go to New England early in the year. They get an opportunity. It's going to be sunny. I need them going in November, December, where we might get snow, might get some sleet, might get the wind blowing. We needed some of that.
Unless they don't dodge the Ty Smith bullet. Because if he can't go, I'm pretty shaky about it. Lyle Collins is still a week away from being back at right tackle. So It's vulnerable.
You definitely don't want your backup going against Matthew Judon.
You do not.
Because he's been unbelievable. He's everything they had hoped for. I'm not so sure all the other free agents have lived up to the expectations of what Coach Belichick and that organization had in mind.
Yep.
But Matthew Judon has been worth the price.
So, as we speak, the Patriots against the run are only 15th statistically.